Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanton's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
All right. Welcome to the show, everybody. Episode 838 of the podcast. The Knicks also winning, just like the Yankees. 2-game win streak for the Knicks now. But a nice win last night. You know, it was Clyde's 80th birthday. He turned 80 years old. Don't know why I said that twice. But, you know, throughout the telecast, they were showing some videos of his former teammates and current Knicks, just, you know, well wishes and stuff. So that was cool. I didn't get to see or hear most of it because I had some family around, but, you know, it's nice to see a legend like Clyde Frazier continue to get the respect from the entire Knicks community. And it was a win that he it was a win that I'm sure he appreciated, you know, with the way this game went. But the Knicks picked up the win. 47-27 record now. Third seed, probably locked up. Fun game. Scary game. Fun game. You know, a lot of moments. Mikal Bridges had that first quarter heave at the buzzer. Thought that was maybe going to propel the Knicks. Precious has a big second quarter. The Knicks end the half, though, on a bad note. You know, they're losing at the end of the half by a good amount. They're down by as many as 14 points early to mid-third quarter. You know, Portland goes on this run. 8 minutes and change left. The Knicks are down 14 after a 10-0 run by Portland. But, you know, DeLon Wright played some good defense in this game. And the Knicks responded with that 10-0 run by strong defense and turning it into a 31-point turnaround for a 110-93 win at the Garden against the Blazers. And the Blazers, listen, they're no slouch. You know, they're not a good team. Not gonna make it sound like they're a good team, but like they're persistent. You know, they 19-15 record in their last 34 before this recent 4-game skid. They were playing .633 ball in their previous 30. So they've been a lot better recently. But in this episode, I want to focus on just kind of the big picture, you know, because the Knicks are starting to round into form. And it seems like it's coming at the perfect time. You know, the defense seems to be coming together. They're up to 13th in the league in defense. They're not too far off the top 10. They're only, I think, 1.1 points per 100 possessions behind Miami to have a top 10 defense. They're fourth in defense in their last 17 games. That's since that Cleveland and Boston set, those two debacles. So clearly something snapped and they kicked into another gear and they picked up their defense, right? But yeah, they're starting to round into form. The defense is coming together. You're getting some positive Brunson news that he should be back to play a couple of games at least before the postseason. You're finding out some offensive stuff about what you can do and integrate into the offense when he returns. You're moving the ball a lot more. You got to learn to do that with Brunson, which makes an early return more important the quicker he returns, so you can have time to find your rhythm with him. But the Knicks have gone 7-5 during this span since that Lakers game when he went down. So 7-5 without your best player and without an arguably a top 10 player in the league is pretty good. Not to mention recently they've gone without their second and third string point guards. So, and even more recently, Karl Towns has been terribly off his game. So the fact that they're still winning these games, big time. And the hope now is that Brunson gets back soon and you get this version of the Knicks with him so you can adjust in time for the postseason, right? And I think the Knicks now are kind of just, they've been rediscovering the equal opportunity offense that they had earlier in the year, right? And that's why I think this Brunson injury, not only was it the best thing, but it was also the perfect time for it to happen for both Tibbs and the Knicks, because it's forcing Tibbs and it's forcing the Knicks to play the way that they were earlier in the year when they were at full strength and at their best offense, right? You're getting the best offensive stretches of the season from Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby at once. Both of them are playing peak offense. And Hart, as bad as he's been in some of these games, as up and down as it's been for him, he's been exceptional as a guard screener on those pick and rolls. He's been very important there. But OG Anunoby is averaging 23 points on 47% without Jalen Brunson. He's getting more opportunities on those spot-ups off the action. Mikal Bridges averaging 22 points on 55% shooting without Brunson. He's getting more on-the-ball reps, more pick-and-roll opportunities without Jalen, right? Because when Jalen's on the floor with Mikal, it's usually hard for Mikal to be contributing because Jalen's running the vast majority of pick-and-rolls. Bridges is now running as pick-and-roll initiator like he was when he was with Brooklyn, and you're seeing him thrive in it, unironically, not coincidentally. And he's just becoming a real weapon in terms of attacking drop coverage bigs. Like, he's become elite at attacking drop. He has, for the past several weeks now, without Jalen, he's spamming those Hart pick and rolls every single night, right? With the defense cross-matching by putting their big on Hart and having the big completely ignore him and play 15 feet off him in the paint. Bridges is taking advantage of that, right? And you saw it once again last night, especially in the second half. Possession mid-third quarter, the Knicks run a slob play. It's a Miami action between Mikal and Hart, right? A Miami action, Jesus Christ. A Miami action is DHO into a pick and roll. So they flow that into a pick and roll. Mikal attacks Klingon and drop, gets to his mid-range fadeaway. Couple of minutes later, same exact thing. They run a Miami action versus drop for Mikal to get to his mid-range. Top of the fourth quarter, pick and roll. Mikal runs one with Mitch to attack Klingon. Middle of the period, he runs pick and roll with Hart to attack Duop Reith. And then late in the fourth quarter, another possession where Josh Hart flips the screen, pick and roll again to attack Klingon and drop coverage. So just spamming those Josh Hart pick and rolls to get Mikal Bridges space to get to his mid-range with the big and drop coverage. And again, the hope is that they can still find that balance with Mikal and Jalen when he gets back. And the hope is that Tibbs is not just doing this because he's forced to run equal opportunity offense. The hope is that he's learning from it, and when he gets Jalen back, he's more willing to go to other actions, right? And play a motion offense with tons of distribution like they were earlier in the year, right? And you're seeing more of that lately. You're seeing help beaters lately. You're seeing switch beaters lately, right? The Knicks have struggled to attack switches a lot this year. First quarter last night, really impressive switch beater. They run pistol touch. DeLon Wright goes to Hart, who goes to OG to beat the late switch on the backside. Wright's on the right wing. OG screens to initiate the switch. Wright makes a pass to Hart at the top of the key, one pass over. Towns, meanwhile, sets a weak side pin to occupy the help, and then Hart goes to OG for an easy look off the cut. Switch beater. Second quarter last night, you had a couple of times where Precious Achiuwa was beaten help beater. OG's posting Anthony Simons on the baseline. Precious is weak side wing. Dwap pre-rotates to OG off Precious, but Precious, instead of just standing there spotting up, does the right thing this time. He cuts off the help with the open lane that was given to him. So what happens is OG finds Precious just in time for a wide open finish. Taking advantage of when the defense commits to the help. That's a help beater. So those are all keys to a successful half-court offense with this group. Cutting, relocating, positioning yourself properly, and finding your teammates being unselfish and not just hunting switches in isolation off the pick and roll, right? But, instead, it's using motion offense outside the action to beat switches and to exploit help. That's what it's got to be, right? Whenever Portland did adjust to the Knicks when they were attacking drop, or if they did, if the Blazers were like, because there were moments in this game where Portland was getting over the top pretty well at the point of attack, and so the Knicks were having a hard time getting into the paint, but the Knicks would do a nice job countering, right? And you just had a lot of moments like that where Portland would adjust, right? Like they would start in that third quarter, they were starting to blitz and double the pick and roll, and the Knicks had Mitch Robinson out there making plays out of the short roll, right? That's new. There was a possession in the third. Portland doubles the Bridges Robinson pick and roll. DeLon Wright's up top off the ball, relocates down to the paint off of the Mitchell Robinson ball screen. That draws his man away from the action up top, but it also draws Denny Avdia's attention away from OG, who is spotting up on the strong wing. So this way, Mitch is able to survey the defense in space on the roll, and he's able to find OG, who's able to knock down an open look with the space that he had, all because DeLon Wright cuts off that pick and roll. So motion offense is going to be important for this team because it brings out the best in the personnel that they have. That's it. Top of the second quarter, you get a baseline out of bounds set, a screen, the screener action, down screen, pin down off the down screen. Matisse Thybulle plays it very well. The Knicks adjust to that coverage, and they get OG an open look. OG rejects, comes off the pin, knocks down a corner. It's just there are so many things going on the court right now to where it's not just reliant on one action. It's not just let me run this action for this player, and we won't pivot if a defense adjusts to it. No, they're finding second side actions. They're finding things off the ball to distract the defense and do things like that. Like we discussed in the previous game, how the Knicks were using wedge screening off of the ball to draw help away from the ball, and the Knicks were able to clear out the lane and get looks that way. It's just that needs to keep happening when Jalen returns, so you're hoping that this is them finally rounding into form. I know I'm kind of running through this whole thing because it's going to be a shorter episode. As I've said, these games without Jalen, really the rest of the season here, we're just going to fucking kind of breeze through it until we get to the more important games like the playoffs. But I thought that was the biggest thing, and that's been the biggest theme with Brunson out, is how they're finding their offense again. The game ball from this game, I got to hand it to OG Anunoby. Mikal Bridges did have 28 points, but I thought OG was fantastic too. 28 points for him, 11 for 16 from the field, 9 of 11 from 2, 2 of 5 from 3, 4 of 4 at the line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 10 or a plus 10 in the box score across 37 minutes. He is on one hell of a run right now, OG. You know, I mentioned that he's been on a hot streak since Brunson went down. You can go a little further back to his last 15, where he's averaging 23, 5, and 3, with 3 stocks per game on 48, 39, 84 splits, 30 steals, 15 blocks, 7 3-point attempts a game. He's on one. You know, last night he was scoring in transition, some of it off of his teammates' defense and rebounding, some of it off of his own defense, right? Late third quarter, he jumps the entry pass from the back line for a steal, transitions into a bucket. There was another second half possession where he jumps the pass lane in a very impressive way. The Knicks are in high coverage on pick and roll, so that's going to leave their backside vulnerable because Towns is leveled. Mikhail's in help as a low man. He's low man on that pick and roll. And so OG is left zoning 2 shooters weak side. But he's still able to manage to pick off the pass that goes to the weak side and go the other way with it into a bucket for the Knicks. Just really impressive stuff. Detail, attention to detail. His half-court defense on the post was very strong and physical, especially against Denny Avdia. He blocked him a couple of times. Blocked him with his inside hand. Just bumping him, being very physical. I love that he's been more aggressive offensively during this stretch. Josh Hart said it best post-game. He's a 6'8", 250-pound demon. So, 14 game balls now on the year for OG Anunoby. And going to the second unit. Don't know why I'm lagging here, so let's not do that. Hold on now. Let's get to our... Oh, that sucks. I think we're good. Are we good? We'll see. Landry Shamet. You know, we always talk about with Shamet, it's in order for him to be most effective, he's got to be knocking down his shots. That's the only way he can help this team. 11 points last night, 4 for 9, 3 for 6 on his threes. His last 4 games, he's 45% on his threes, 5 attempts a night. That's good. Need that. 6 game balls for Landry Shamet. Probably not going to be in the playoff rotation. Whatever. Just end the season on a good note, and we'll thank you for your service. So Landry Shamet, nice night last night. Continues to be fine lately. So you like that you're seeing that. But really a lot of guys on the second unit played well last night. Mitch Robinson, again, Precious Achiuwa had the big second quarter. So without campaign right now, Landry Shamet stepping up at the perfect time. That's it, man. I'm not even going to waste time with anything else. I said the main points that I wanted to say. The Knicks win 110-93. Up next, they've got a back-to-back set starting tomorrow where they're hosting the Sixers at the Garden. And then on Wednesday, they travel to play Cleveland. Hopefully, after that back-to-back set, we'll start to hear more on Brunson's return because there are only 7 games left, maybe 8. So hopefully Brunson is back not long after that. I would like to have him back for maybe the Phoenix game or the Boston game after that. Maybe it's the Atlanta game even earlier. We'll see. But just to have a couple of games under his belt to adjust to this offense and hopefully find a rhythm for himself too. So that's what's up next. We got Philly tomorrow. And with that said, we're going to get to our trivia question when we return from break here on the show. Stay with us. Be back in a couple of minutes. BD4 is available on social media for those who want to follow. You can find BD4 on Instagram at BD4Pod. You can find us on X at BD4Pod. And you can find us on Facebook by simply searching BD4. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this podcast is also available in video format on YouTube. So be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, BD4, subscribe, like the videos, comment and tell me how much I suck or maybe how much you like the video. We'd very much appreciate it. If If you feel like supporting the podcast, you can Venmo at Robert-Carbone-JR-28. We really appreciate your support. Do you enjoy Yankees baseball but are tired of hearing me yap? I have a suggestion for you. Go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. Greg Gill is a Yankees podcaster on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and he's now selling merch. Go to yankeecrazy.myshopify.com. Stay connected with us. Visit BD4blog.com to explore our blog, tune into our latest podcasts, and follow us on social media. Thank you for being a part of this community. Okay, welcome back to the show. Let's wrap this one up with our trivia question of the day, and that'll be that little 20-minute episode here. That's not the right question. No, that's not the right question. Let me get to the question here. Here we go. Our trivia question for today, I have it on my notes. The Knicks are currently on a 5-game win streak against Portland. When was the last time they won as many in a row against them? All right, the Knicks are currently on a 5-game win streak against Portland. When was the last time they won as many in a row against them? All right, let me know the answer. Appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, that's it. Like I said before, these last few games of the year, not gonna really focus much on the nitty gritty, on the detail. I'm just ready for the postseason with the 3C locked up. We'll have a couple of more detailed ones when Brunson returns, hopefully before the playoffs. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for the postseason. Just get me to it, and let's see what happens with this team. Because they're starting to find some things, and maybe they can make a run. So appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you as always, and I'll see you very soon. Later. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.